Hi everybody, welcome back to those who've been hanging with me some time, and welcome to those of you who are new to my channel. I'm Adele Levine, intuitive and medium. Alright guys, so I want to dive right into this. I've been wanting to do a video like this, and then I literally just fumbled over and over of the title. So it was clear what I want to talk about. And what I want to talk about is a modern view of the spirit world, or a modern view of the afterlife, whichever one I landed on. Because I have done thousands of readings, and over the past couple of years, there's been such a uptick in the interest in the afterlife, the spirit world, spirituality in general, and there's so much information out there, and there's so much information that is very, very ancient, and there's so much information that is new via TikTok or whatever. And so kind of trying to slice this information into a way that you can understand, that isn't confusing, and is also not like ancient thinking. Here's the thing. The way I see the spirit world and the way it's been shown to me is much more futuristic than what you've been told most of the time. Now remember, I'm going to preface it. Is that a word? What's the word I'm trying to say? I'm going to state. All of a sudden I got the Terminator view in my head, probably because I watched it this morning. When I say futuristic, it's not that future, okay? We're not going into that future, don't worry. I want to state this. This is what I've learned thus far. This is what I've come to understand. Cue my cats who always want to eat or play when I'm recording. Maybe they think I need the company. I'm starting to think. And moving on, this is what I've come to understand. You don't have to agree with me. You can say you've had different experiences. It's totally fine. And you can say you've looked up some things or read some things, and these are the experiences. But I am telling you, from my view of going on 19 years, wow, since I was 1, right? Professionally doing this. Lying, don't call me out. Okay, maybe that's exaggerated. Since I was 10, wink, I professionally been doing this. I have experienced it this way. Okay, so with that said, here's my very unmodern cup. See, I have like both worlds, you know? I almost like hit my own teeth, but you know, little wizardy and things like this. But this is my take of what I've come to understand. The afterlife is always depicted as up, right? We always hear like, oh, they're looking down upon us, or we might even think it's below us. We're always looking at the afterlife as somewhere else, somewhere beyond, right? That's what we hear, that it's somewhere over there. It is never depicted as around us. And if it is, it's always in a negative form, that it's some spiritual, demonic thing that is there to haunt our dreams and haunt us. It's never looked at as simply as another dimension, kind of similar to sci-fi. Think of Stargate. Think of Star Wars. Think of Star Trek. How many star like titles can I come up with? But think of something more modern, where there's really a way to go into another dimension, although Star Wars is another dimension, but they can light speed into a different area. Just look at it as another form. However, in Star Wars, they do have Yoda, and they do show Yoda and Obi-Wan and Darth Vader in spirit form looking at, you know, looking at Luke. So it's the concept that accepting that there is another realm where we live on, where we continue on. Yes, that is true. That is something I've seen. However, it is a very different world than this world. We don't have a body. We don't have a physical sense. There is no limit of time and space. So let's start with no body. We don't, not nobody, like you don't have anybody with you, but you do not have a body. You do not have a physical vessel that you are in. So in this realm, once you die, which I'll do another video, and leave in the comments below if you want, what other videos you'd like to piggyback on this, and also what have been your experiences. So don't forget, comment, because I like to hear from you and I do answer back. In the spirit world, the no body part, okay? When you leave this world, when you die, you let go of the body, you go into this world with no body. You don't need a physical vessel to be in this other dimension. And what is it that you are, you may ask? People always think of spirits as orbs, or they think of them as these floaty type of things. It really is still a shape form if you choose to create that. It's just energy. It's a frequency. And people get obsessed with the idea that orbs and things like that have to represent. We tend to make the spirit world almost like kindergartners. Yes, you do. When you're talking about spirits like they're these little orbs and these little floaty things, we're making them like these ethereal, floaty, types of things. These are people who died. We're all going to be of this sort. There are people who passed, and they are still people. They still are who they are. They are their own person. They just don't need a physical body to exist, because they are existing in a world that only needs, look at it as digital. Okay? So they only need a digital form of themselves. So in this world, they don't need to drive to your house, come visit you, come see you, because they are in a world that is vast and easy to obtain, this world and theirs. So that moves me to the next part. The next part is there is no time or space. Importantly, there is no limit to time and space. Does not exist. So therefore, when we have these ancient ways of thinking that we have to talk to people on certain days, at certain times, when the moon is risen at a certain space, and we have to do all these things to access the spirit world, it may be true for you, and this may be something you connect to, and it may be something that you want to do, and maybe something you feel good and your ritual, which is totally fine, of course, but it isn't needed for them because they don't have a schedule to the moon. They don't have a schedule to a date because there are no such things in this realm. So kind of imagine when you're connecting to the internet, when you are talking to Google. Do you think Google cares where the moon is? Do you think Google cares on what day that you're talking? No, because there's just a limited access of time and space of the internet. So the time and space is very important because we tend to limit that world to our world. That goes in the same line as the body. Now, the reason why I call this modern is because a lot of ancient ways and old ways of looking at the spirit world is very mysterious, is very unknown. Oh my gosh, the spirit world comes to us in these random times, and it must have been because I did this thing and planted this seed and did this dance and all these things. Because of course, being connected to the earth is definitely important because it is our dimension. And those who are connected to the earth and connected to the energy is connected to the flow of energy and has respect for the spirit world. But why do people see spirits in the middle of the desert or when they're kind of isolated in a space? Simple. Because you are seeing it and paying attention to what has already been there. Much like the Matrix. Yes, I'm going to reference the Matrix again. Just be lucky I didn't call this the Matrix / something. It is very similar. It's a world within a world, okay? I've said this millions of times. I'm going to say it again. And much like the Matrix in the sense, people don't see right? What is going on in the spirit world when we have lights and noises and cars and all kinds of things going on and distracting us, and the TV and video games and work and this. But if you're silenced into a middle of a place where you don't have all these distractions, you're seeing what's been going on and is going on right now, right at this moment while you're watching or listening to this video. Okay? So the modern take is the idea that there isn't somewhere where the spirits go and have to travel to and from, and there isn't a place where the spirits have to be disrupted and interrupted in life or their world to communicate with us. Now, here's another important thing. That brings me to, you are bringing them to you. You are not bringing them to you. That is kind of believing that when you look up somebody, like watching this video, that I came to your house to communicate, walked, specifically to you, that I came over into your house. Now, the reason why we compare it is because we have a very limited view of this world, meaning the spirit world. We limit it to what we understand. In order for us to connect, now we used to have to travel, but we should update that, right? Because we don't anymore. Now you can text, you can DM, you can FaceTime, you can Skype, you can Zoom, you can, any which way you can find to virtually communicate and connect. You don't have to physically be in the presence of someone. Now that world is the same, upgraded a lot, more advanced. So when you are feeling or seeing someone, it is because they can see and hear you, much like I could wonder, how do you know what I was wearing on that day? And you're like, you posted it on your Instagram. It's, hello, did you not know that? That is very similar to that world. When they were wondering, how did they know? How did they know? It's because they are in a more technical vibe. I'm not saying it's in technical world, meaning they didn't beam into this new futuristic world, but it's similar. The best way I can compare it is to where our technology is going. And I've said this before, VR, AR, it is showing us, as much as we're afraid of a lot of these things, this is how this world is. So they are not traveling to you. When I do medium readings, I am not bringing them to you. I am merely signing on. Now, I used to say this way back when, years ago, when I started this path. When I started professionally reading, I was trying to explain this to people, and it was very hard for people to understand. They could not understand it. But I've noticed people pick up on it really quick now, partly because people are a little bit more educated, partly because of technology. They're like, yeah, I can see that's possible. You see what I mean? People go, yeah, kind of like how I just text someone or look someone up online. You're just kind of signing on to someone. Yeah, I kind of understand that. People have an acceptance of it much more, and I believe it's because of technology. So the modern view of the spirit world is this. It is the idea that we don't need to run through all of these steps and do all of these complicated things, and that it's all these things that they're just sitting there staring at you. So even when you're connecting with someone, when you feel someone, they're not just sitting there staring at you. Unless someone online is a stalker of yours, they're not just sitting there staring at you either. They get a notification, they check their phone. Yeah, looks like so-and-so is doing this. Put down, and you go back, right? You go back to doing typing, blow drying your hair, whatever, right? You're not just staring at the person. Unless you're a stalker. An online stalker, I should say. Hopefully. You're not. Then you are just managing many things. And that world can do that times much faster and much more elaborate. So that yes, they can see you and feel you, but no, are they just with you and following you wherever you go and just hanging out? It's just once in a while you can tune in and feel and see the matrix. You can see the other realm. You can see something else exists. And every once in a while that breaks through. Those of us like me who do this kind of work professionally and have had a natural, innate, very strong ability to see that world, just happens to see it very strong. And I've honed it and honed it and honed it. It did come off out the gate very, very strong. And I said, all right, well, since it's so strong, I better learn all I need to learn. Okay, lastly, and what's really important is this. You need to know you have access to the spirit world whenever you want, whenever. Nobody comes between you and whoever you're trying to communicate. A medium mediates. I just merely mediate. You're here, I'm here, the spirit's there, and there's a mediation. So the whole concept to me that is a problem about old ways is that there's always like this thing of somebody is so much more special and is needed in order for you to connect and feel those that you love. Not to mention, there's all these tools you need. You need all kinds of things. Throw up tools, pendulums. You need crystals. You need looking glasses. You need this, you need this, you need that. And if you want to use those tools, go for it. Do it. Because some people just really love them. I love crystals. I have crystals. I don't use them to see the world, but I love them. I love incense. I have tools that I just love to use for me for different reasons. But I don't want you to feel you have to use these tools to connect to that realm. If you like and it helps you, sure. But believing that there's all of these like ways you have to go about it is not necessary. It's an ancient way. It is like describing to someone that they have to use dial-up, remember dial-up, to connect to the internet, or they have to only, use their desktop. And someone's like, no, you can like use your phone, you can use this. These might be little outstretch examples, but the idea is that if you want access to that realm, it just takes you getting used to seeing and feeling and hearing that realm. So if you want to directly feel them and connect to them, you can. But sometimes the tools help you get there. What I do in my work, and this is all I want to be clear about, is I teach people to see directly or know that you can connect directly. That's all I do. That's all I'm trying to do. I do what I do. I directly connect to that realm. So I try to show people, if you want to use other things and you want to go for other things, go for it. You should. But I just want you to know that in the modern version of spirituality, you don't have to. You don't have to. There are other ways that we are actually built inside of us that we can access. Okay? So the idea of the modern spirit world is to let you know they're not sitting there lost. They're not floating around going, where am I? You're not keeping them from anything. You're not talking to them too soon. You're not keeping them from their spiritual growth. They can communicate with you, feel you, and continue to do what they do. They don't have to be alone. There is no such thing as being alone. Kind of because, unlike here, there is a telepathic communication and a collective conscious, and they can just tune in to whoever they want in fast speed. So therefore, these old ways of teaching people that they're alone, their soul is lost, you have to wait certain days to talk to them. All these rules are not necessary. And that's kind of more what I want to tell you. Because how painful it is when you lose someone for people to tell you if you don't follow these rules, you don't get to feel or see people you love. In that realm, what they always tell me, it's like a one-way looking glass. They're looking at you. They're feeling you. They're definitely trying to let you know. But because we're not trained or taught or encouraged to see that world, or because you're afraid, you're not feeling or seeing them. Okay? I hope that explained it. I hope. So I just wanted to let you know, speaking of practicing, I'm going to be doing a class on astral projection. I feel this is a great gateway into learning how to lift your spirit and you lift your consciousness into another realm. I'll be doing that next Saturday. If you want to join me online, so this is available to everyone worldwide, join me. Don't forget to follow me on my Instagram because I announce so much stuff on there, and I try to put it on the community page, but I notice more people see stuff on Instagram, but I try to do both. Follow me on my Instagram as well as I have my Patreon, and I just did a live where I was answering a lot of these questions, and I can do live on there because I can play music on there, and YouTube doesn't punish me and Instagram doesn't kick me off, and we can hang and we can talk about stuff. Thank you guys so much. Follow yourself. Follow no one. Listen to your inner voice, and I'll see you soon.